All right, welcome in for this episode. We are covering the Menendez brothers case, which has had some action recently. And this story, if you don't know what it's about, there were two brothers. They were living in Beverly Hills. They were wealthy, and their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, they were shot by the brothers one night while honestly, they were just chilling, watching TV in their living room. But, we'll get into that. We'll get into the trials. We'll talk about where this case is now. And there were some abuse claims that came out. And we'll cover a couple of the shows that have documentaries and what I would consider more show than documentaries. But in any case, we'll cover all of that. And then where we're at now, because there is some action coming up here in August
Very
2025.
soon.
Yes. What's today? It's July 7th. So in like a month, we'll see.
hmm
All right. So let's get into this August 20th, 1989. The two brothers, Lyle was the older brother. He was 21, and Eric was the younger brother. He was 18. And like I said, their parents were Jose and Kitty. They were watching TV in their living room. The boys came in and shot their parents. And Jose was shot 6 times. Kitty was shot more than 6 times, I think 10 times. And yeah, they were just in the living room watching a movie, which I feel like comes into play as probably for me one of the most controversial parts of the whole thing. But the boys had claimed that assassins killed their parents. Like I said, they were wealthy. So they actually probably could have gotten away with that because they were well off and their dad was a pretty big deal in several different industries. So Eric ended up confessing in October. So, a couple of months after the murders, he had been seeing a psychologist. And come to find out in a documentary that I watched, this was a psychologist that their dad actually hired. And not only did their dad hire this psychologist, but he got this psychologist to sign a waiver that anything that Eric told him, the psychologist could tell the dad. So this guy was not ethical, first of all. But Eric sounded like he was in such a place where he wanted to kill himself and just his brain was full of turmoil, even before the murders and then compiled with the murders. He just sounded like he was at his wit's end. So he went and told this doctor, Dr. Oziel, what happened, that the boys were the ones who killed their parents. And it wasn't even that Dr. Oziel went and revealed this information because there is confidentiality. But Oziel had told his mistress, again, clearly not an upstanding human or citizen. He was married and had a mistress. And he told his mistress, who got involved in one of the sessions and recorded it. And then she went to the police. And this is a total side part of this story. She went to the police saying that Oziel basically kidnapped her and raped her. And, oh, in the meantime, while we're going through this kidnap and rape charges, here's a tape. These boys confessed to this murder. So there was a little bit or a lot of drama even surrounding their psychologist and how this ended up getting communicated to the police. So fast forward, they get
That
through
was a
that.
lot.
It was a lot. And then the boys were arrested. Lyle was arrested on March 8th, and Eric was arrested a couple of days later in 1990. So this was, let's see, maybe 6-ish months after the murder. They did go on a spending spree. I'm not going to lie. They were buying super expensive watches. One of them bought a fancy Porsche. Like they were out there spending money. And when you would see them in videos and things like that, they, for the most part, didn't look too upset when they were out there spending money. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. There's a lot wrapped up into this case with the abuse that we'll talk about shortly. I'm sure they do genuinely, and in some of these interviews, they do genuinely seem sad about what they did. And especially with our mom, they missed her
Mm.
or still miss her. But I imagine, and I'm speaking for them, I don't know this, they didn't say this in anything that I've seen or read, but there must have been some sense of relief that they weren't dealing with this abuse anymore. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on the whole, oh, they went out and spent all this money. They didn't look sad. There's a, there's a lot going on mentally with what
Mm-hmm.
happened in this story. It's not just hey, these kids wanted their inheritance and they killed their parents. There's so much more involved. So I don't know, looking at them in the couple of months after, gosh, their emotions must have really just been everywhere.
I mean, that you said it right. They were just kids. I mean, it's still 21. Think about some of the decisions that you made when it came to money or whatever. So I can't like comment on that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it's a little suspect, but I don't know. I don't know what kind of mind frame I would be in
yeah. Well,
if I
and
just
it's,
done that, you
yeah,
know? I've never
I've,
been in that situation.
yeah. The reasoning being the abuse, there has to be some sense of like liberation in what they did. And again, I have not seen that or read that anywhere. That's what I think.
Mhm. Almost like they broke free.
Yes, exactly.
And I was listening, I can't remember if it was a podcast or show I was listening to, but like someone had said it was a gentleman. Think about the fact that here they are, they're broke free, and it's like a whole new life.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You may think that's awful of me to say, but I try in every judgment that I make of someone when it comes to that is to put myself in their shoes. I don't know how to even start to begin with that one
Right.
because
Unless, yeah.
they're not the first high profile case where that person hasn't been abused for years upon years by whoever their parents or someone in charge of them, and they turn around and they murder them, the ones who have been putting the abuse on them. I mean, it's just not the first time.
No, and I think that the whole deal with this case is that their wealth and they're these
Mhm.
uber rich people living in this huge mansion in Beverly Hills. So I think that that did not help their case. I also
No.
think the timing of it being right after the Rodney King, after that court case, and I think the city quickly knew that basically they messed up that verdict and they were going to make sure that another high profile case wasn't going to go in the same direction, you know?
Right.
So the timing was also bad for them.
Yeah, they bought back to the spending, they just bought so many things that within that time frame of your parents just passing away, it's extremely suspect, but I've also never lived anything close to their lifestyle either. I don't know what they were used to spending daily. I mean, was that just like a little bit lavish for them? Because for me, it's like totally off the top, you know?
Well,
I
and a
don't
lot
know.
of people deal with grief by shopping.
Yeah,
So maybe Rolexes and a Porsche are their version of you or I going to Amazon Prime or Walmart. You know what I mean?
right. I mean, very true. Like I said, I've never lived like that, but they did. They had extravagant lifestyles because their father was very well off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's so hard, especially when you know that there is a chance that abuse is involved.
Hmm. Yeah. I definitely feel I definitely feel bad for them. And we'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah, we will. And I mean, all that spending, it just led them straight into trial. They were arrested, and the two faced television trials. The first one that ended in a hung jury, and that was in 1994. The second one that was in 1996, and the conviction of first degree murder and conspiracy is what they both got, and they got life without parole. That was two totally, like, that was just a complete change. But as we're going to talk about, the trials were handled a little different in what could be talked about. So could that be the reason why? Now, the first trial that was led by Leslie Abramson, the defense represented the shocking claim that the murders were not about money, not at all. It was just about years of abuse that was sexual and emotional. They, according to the brothers, Jose Menendez, I about messed his name up, Jose Menendez had been sexually abusing Eric and also Lau for years. It was still supposedly going on with Eric up until the murders. And Kitty Menendez, they portrayed her as pretty unemotionally stable, and that she was just pretty much covering up the things that her husband was doing. The brothers claimed that they feared that they were going to be killed by their parents, and that is why they did what they did. I guess you could say that maybe they wanted to get to their parents before their parents got to them. I mean, in simpler terms. Yeah, I don't know. It's beyond anything that I can understand. But trial two, that Judge Weisberg, he limited the testimony about abuse. They wasn't able to talk about as much as they were in the first trial, ruling that it was irrelevant to the issue of premeditated murder. He did not allow most of the prior psychology testimony or detailed abuse claims. He didn't want any of that coming because, like I said, I'm gonna say, I don't believe they believed them whatsoever.
I don't know. I have a couple things. Number one, people in their immediate family came forward and said either they had told me about this or I believed them.
Mhm. Or this was fishy, or, well, I didn't see that exactly, but I do remember this. So, yeah, and I guess when you talk about the brothers worrying about the parents coming after them, I can see where someone like, Jose would not want that secret exposed about him or his family. I mean, just like he wanted to cover up in the beginning when they were thieving and robbing.
Yeah, but
So
he, some of his family members came forward and said, oh, I saw him doing physical abuse, not the sexual, but multiple people came forward and said, oh, yeah, when one of the boys was 2 years old. I saw him doing this, so
Mhm.
he definitely did some of the other types of abuse in front of his family members. Luckily, they came forward, but that was in the first trial.
Right, and I mean, that was if you don't even wanna look at it sexually, you can talk about the emotional side of things that family members heard and seen from him. But with them not allowing the sexual abuse allegations to be talked about in the second trial, that really weakened the emotional defense. It was yeah, that just really kind of blew all of that out of the water. Now, the self-defense, again, this has never happened to me. But if the things that were happening to them, excuse me, were happening to me, I don't know what kind of mind state or what kind of thinking I would be in.
Yeah. And I think this is probably the right time to talk about what I meant earlier with them coming in and shooting their parents while they're sitting on the couch watching TV. I think that that's where the self defense claim takes a little bit of a turn. Okay, it's not like your dad was abusing you in the moment. It's not like you were standing there and he was screaming at you. So I get
Right.
that part of it. But
Yes.
from what the boys have said consistently, this wasn't just one interview, this was consistent over all these years that they had had a discussion, and Eric told Lyle that the abuse was still going on. And
Right.
then
Yes.
that
Up
just
until
put them in a panic, and they went and shot their parents while they were watching TV because they've both said their mom wasn't helpful. They had told their mom multiple times, both of them, and she always brushed it off and said, "Don't talk about that." So their mom was complicit, not helpful, back to the dad, basically. So, you know, that's another part of it. Why shoot your mom? I mean, that's why. So imagine this goes on for from the age of 6 to 18. That's 12 years. That's a long time to get your mind all screwed up.
in the
And
most important time
true.
for your development of your mind, your body, who you are, that it's right there, that's the time.
Yeah.
That's it. And you're being abused the whole time?
Yeah. And it's not that Lyle wasn't abused emotionally or other ways. It's just Lyle's sexual abuse happened from 6 to 8, from what he said in the trial. So his sexual abuse wasn't going on, for that 10, 12 years. However, all of the other abuse was going on, which is enough to mess with your mind mentally. So, when Eric went to Lyle that night and said, "Hey, this is going on," I think it was just a snapping point, and they both just were like, yes, in a panic. He's going to kill us if we don't kill him. And that's what happened. So there's a lot to be said for what abuse of any kind does to your mind, especially like you said, when you're in those development years.
And was it Kitty or or was or Jose, which but it might have been Kitty, who pulled off Lyle's wig in front of Eric, his hairpiece?
I'm not sure. That sounds like a Jose thing, but I'm not sure.
But how embarrassing and traumatizing is that?
All of it. Yeah.
Because in the first place, you're already embarrassed because you're wearing that. And you're able to hide it because it was a very well-made one, and then you're being exposed in front of people that didn't know. Yeah, that's traumatizing at that age.
Yeah. And for people to say, this is the other part. this was the prosecution's whole thing was, oh, they wanted this inheritance. I think it was $14 million, but
Mm.
they were already living large. It's not like they needed that money. They were, you know what I mean? They were rich already. So I don't know.
And I did hear of talk of their father changing the will.
Hmm.
And a family member said that he was or had already changed it. And something else that I had listened to said that I think it was Lal had possibly had someone that he knew go in and try to wipe that will out. But I don't know. It's all hearsay.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing that, but that doesn't mean that
Mm.
it didn't happen.
Right. I did find it interesting when I listened to something today, and Lyle did admit that he was trying to pay his girlfriend and friends to take up for him in court. That was
I
interesting.
mean,
But I get it
that's
too. You need
not,
witnesses. I don't know. You got
yeah.
money. That's how you've been taught. That's how you get things. Because wasn't that how his father got them out of where they were stealing and breaking into homes? Money takes care of all.
Yeah. I mean, there were definitely some things that weren't great on their part of being spoiled rich kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, money when whatever doesn't matter. If you had money like that or have money like that, you can take care of almost anything you need to.
Yeah, I also thought it was interesting that in the documentary that I watched recently, they literally could not find one single person except Jose's secretary to say anything nice about him. That says a lot.
And then you have the Menudo. Is that how you say it?
Menudo, yeah.
Menudo. You have the boy that was in Menudo that come forward and said that he was drugged and raped by Jose.
Right. So they, they've been active this whole time with appeals and all of that and trying to get new trials, especially because what you just said in
Mhm.
2023, one of the singers from Menudo, so Jose Menendez, one of his roles, he was a CEO of a bunch of companies, but one of them was a record label CEO, and he found and started up Menudo. And in 23, one of those singers came forward and said that he sexually abused him when he was under Jose at that label. And that started a whole thing where, hey, this could be what gets us our new trial. And I do think that that had a lot to do with it. And they talked a little bit about that so I watched this Netflix documentary. It's called Menendez Brothers. It came out in October 24, so it's relatively recent. It was a great documentary because it primarily was interviewing the two boys. They had some family on there as well. And I don't know, it was just really well done. It's 2 hours. It's a really good recap up to, well, October, because things have happened since October, but it's a good recap up till then. And
Right.
so I would definitely, if anyone just needs a refresher, I would definitely recommend that on Netflix. Again, it's called The Menendez Brothers, and it came out in October last year. There was another show that came out called Monsters. I don't remember if that was on Netflix as well, but it's Ryan Murphy who does American Horror Story and some of those other shows. I did not like that. It came out, I think it also came out in 24. I felt
I
like
think so.
it made the boys look like monsters. I mean, that's the title, Monsters, right? And I immediately, the first episode, I think I even texted you after I watched the first episode and was like, I hate this show. I don't even know if I want to finish it. I just didn't like the way that it portrayed the boys, and it just didn't align with how I think and how I feel about what happened with the story. And I know obviously it's not a documentary, it's an actual TV show, so it's dramatic and all that. But when we're talking about something like this, facts matter, especially since it's
Mhm.
still an active case.
Yeah, this isn't a case that somebody wrote down as a story or just come up with on their own. This is a real life happening. This is murder and two men who are in prison for the rest of their life. This is serious stuff.
Yeah, I also think a couple of things. One, the time, 1989, this kind of abuse wasn't as widely talked about as it is 2025. So I
Mhm.
think that has gone in their favor. And especially with social media, I think that TikTok has been a good sort of support for the boys getting out of jail.
Yeah. In October of 2024, LADA George Gascon recommended resentencing. California Governor Newsom ordered a parole board risk assessment in early 2025. Gascon considered rehabilitation because of the abuse history. New DA Nathan Hochman took office January of 2025, withdrew Gascon's motion demanding full acceptance of guilt and lies, though.
Yeah. And so there's some talk here, and I live here. So I see this in
You
our
hear a little
local.
more.
Yeah. So there's, some talk about people weren't in love with Gascon and didn't love some of the things that he was doing. So this new person is coming in, sort of trying to prove a point. And unfortunately, this got wrapped up in that. And people believe it affected the election that happened for this position in November. So there's, again, a little bit of side drama around the case that really doesn't even involve the case. And then we talked about this on this podcast. There were fires here, so that they originally had an earlier date for all of this to go through the court system, but we had some major fires. So it ended up being held in mid-May. I actually, since it was on our local news, I actually went live on TikTok and showed it in the moment, which was kind of cool. And so they, you know, did all the testimony again, talked about their prison rehab. So, they've been upstanding prisoners, if you will. Lyle has a green space and he gardens. Eric has been working with hospice volunteering. And so they've been sort of model prisoners, if you will. And then they had family members come forward again in support of the boys. And there were some officials who support the boys as well, and they testified and said that they should be resentenced and be able to get out of jail. So the judge ended up reducing their sentences to 50 years to life, and that could change their eligibility for parole under what's called this youthful offender law. And both of them came in virtually, both admitted guilt. And yeah, so now we're just waiting to see what happens. And Amy and I will give our personal opinions here at the end of what we think should happen.
Yeah, I mean, and people need to keep in mind that they aren't doubting or saying that they didn't do what they did. It's just, have they spent enough time in prison? Are they rehabilitated? Has their time there done what it was supposed to do? I mean, that's basically all this is about, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But of yeah, but of course, you know how that goes. The rolling reunited, polarized reactions. Some celebrated, some condemned, and others were just, just it didn't matter. But for the most part, I think there was a lot that were quite upset. I remember, I don't know. I thought, well, I do take that back. I do see a lot of support. Didn't you? I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I've seen both ways. I have seen a lot mad, but I have seen a lot of support, and then I've seen others that just don't care. But
Especially on social in support.
yeah, I mean, I feel like if they are in there, they are both married to women who are outside of the jail. They are both able to stay out of trouble, give forth, and be productive toward the jail. Maybe they can do it outside.
Yeah. I think being married will definitely be helpful because it's not it's not easy to get a job as a person convicted of a murder felony.
Mm. And I mean, everybody knows, you said. So, yeah, everybody knows. You can't
Yeah.
hide it.
Yeah. And the thing is, with these two at least, because of the way they grew up, their educations were really advanced. So, I mean, maybe it would be a little easier for them to get a job than maybe someone growing up in an impoverished area who gets incarcerated at 15 and dropped out of school at 13. Like, they don't have as good of an education unless they were concentrating on that in prison. But I mean, I feel like they'd be relatively employable.
Well, I don't know. Let's really stop and think about it realistically. Do you think they're going to have to worry about money? Because I think that there's going to be all kinds of opportunities thrown their way if they're released.
That is true.
Because I haven't seen a high profiled individual released from prison that has been followed like they have come out and just be broke and have nothing.
True. They're definitely going to have opportunities for interviews and making money other ways that a normal kid from some American city isn't going to have. So
They
that's
got caught
actually
with a bag of weed. Right.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, totally. But I think, I've thought about this a lot, and it's probably not something that a lot of people have, but, and I'm not necessarily speaking on the age 18 and 21, but I've thought about several times when I've listened to episodes of true crime stories where an individual was 12, 13, 15, and they had done something like this, or maybe not as bad. Life's a long time, and we aren't completely developed mentally at those ages. And I mean, you could even go to, I guess, the length of saying that about a spoiled rich kid that's 18 or 21, I guess.
I'm
So
so
I don't
torn.
know.
I
I know, I agree.
With what happened in my family, I'm pretty hardcore on criminals and thinking that they
Mhm.
should never be out of jail and like you took someone's life, get the fuck out of here. Like, no, you should stay in
Right.
jail. I hate you. So it's hard. And the person that did that to my niece had really extensive abuse as well. So it's just hard to wrap my brain around should should that come into play? Should it matter that you were 18? Should it matter that someone was 15? Was it the combination of abuse with an underdeveloped brain because they were only a teenager? I just have
No.
a hard time not saying, no, you're just a criminal. But that's
I
just
mean, the
me based.
answer is no. But with me knowing that when you say or when someone says the term people change is true, like, I think you could maybe look at it on a case to case basis at that point.
I know, but watching shows, I'm just gonna throw this out here, like Evil, what's that show called? Evil, oh shoot, I can't remember. I watch it all the time. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It's about people who do horrible things.
Mhm.
And watching that and thinking, these people were just inherently bad people. When they were younger, they started, a lot of them, hurting animals, killing
Mhm.
animals, and then abusing their siblings or whatever. It's like some people just have bad, evil brains. So
And
that's where I like get torn up in, should that matter? Should your age matter? I don't know.
right, but I guess I'm still looking at it on the side of the abuse.
I know, but if
Yeah. It
like it,
doesn't make murder okay.
no, and I'm not saying it even
Yeah.
specific to this case because I actually do feel differently about this case in particular. But some people, no matter how much rehab they go through or
Mhm.
how much God they find in prison or whatever, like their brains are just inherently evil. I don't know. So, do I think, obviously, it's case by case, obviously,
Mhm.
but it just makes me torn of, do I think that age should come into it?
Right. Oh, I get it, I do. Because in all reality, everything that you said about it in the start, no. No, I mean, you took someone's life, you murdered someone, so right.
Yeah,
But I also understand that not everybody's raised the same way and don't have the same things happen to them, and not everybody's brain works the same. I don't know. That's why I'm not in one of those positions.
right. Yeah. And I guess we'll find out. So these hearings are coming up in August, like I said, and Governor Newsom, who's our governor here in California, he's going to weigh in on their rehabilitation in jail and, their remorse and all of that and their risk assessment. And there are two outcomes here. They're either going to deny it and they'll revisit it later on, or they're going to say, or the judge is going to say, okay, your term is shorter and now you factor in time served and they could get out
Well,
like now or maybe in a couple of years.
no, they could possibly walk out next month.
Yeah, crazy.
But what would be next month? They have to wait, like, what would they play games and make you wait, like, month or some stupid shit?
I actually don't know how
They
that.
always play games like, "You're
Yeah.
free," and then you go back to sit in the cell like this until that's what I see, like, on people, especially that, like, we're gonna get off topic for a minute. I watched this one dude who had been convicted of murder, didn't do it, like, he caused not an issue in jail, he was just really sad and upset because he like, you ain't gonna believe me, so you just might as well sit there and, make the best out of it." Well, they said, "You're free, you didn't do it," and then took him back here to sit like this for about 3 months.
Yeah, that could happen. I don't know. I don't know how that
But you
works.
know that this dude didn't do it. Why are you taking up more of his time? You've already took all kinds of it.
Yeah, weird.
You're gonna go home to your life and to the money that you've been making this whole time that he's been in prison. He's just waiting to go home and start all that again.
Yeah.
That pisses me off. But okay, that was my rant for the day. Sorry. Yeah, it does. It makes me mad.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the way that it goes in the direction and they're like, okay, you're going to get 30 years, which you've already done, so you're released immediately. Is that like that day? Is that in, like you said, 3 months? I guess we'll see
Right.
next
Yeah.
month.
That like in that other situation, it's so unfair. But I mean that you they ain't gonna be like all quick say, okay, yeah, we messed up. They're gonna drag their feet
Yeah,
on that one. But
I'm sure.
gosh, 1 to 5 years. I mean, yeah, they
We'll
could be
see.
walking. They could be walking
Hmm.
among us, not necessarily among me, but among us.
Among
Yeah,
me.
and among you.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, we'll see. But I will tell you, this whole story, this whole horrible murder, everything that they've created, it has been wild. Everything has been dramatized. There's books, there's court TV, talk shows. It's just been so much let out. The recent media, of course, Dawn already spoke about. She talked about documentary on Netflix, the interview with the brothers in prison. That was in October 24. That was the Menendez brothers, wasn't it? If I can
the
speak.
Menendez
Yeah,
brothers.
the
Yeah,
Menendez brothers. And then the Netflix series Monsters, she told you about that. That, of course, the both of those together, that, of course, brought more interest. And especially, I believe, when you started bringing up the mentioning of sexual and emotional abuse, in that people really started being like, huh, what'd you say? Because now people are more educated and are a little more understanding when it comes to that. It's not just, well, honey, it was your fault for that short skirt you're wearing. Now everybody can experience sexual abuse, and that's the norm. So, yeah, it's just really brought a total different look into it when you look at it from people back then to now and how we're more educated. Um, Wisconsin teen, they copied scenes from monsters that led to a murder, raising ethical questions about dramatizing real crime. And I think that's important as well. Yeah, I mean, because it was Lyle. Correct me if I'm wrong, Don. Wasn't it Lyle that supposedly wrote the script with his friend?
it. I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't
If you
know.
remember hearing about the script, don't you?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, you didn't know this? Supposedly they had I'm not gonna say which one it was. I think it might have been Lyle, but don't quote me on that. Was with his friend and they wrote a script to a movie, and it pretty much was about killing parents for money.
Oh, I do think I remember this now, but I heard about it way back when. This was a long time ago,
Right.
not recent. Yeah, yeah. With this social media thing too, and why I think it's such a big deal right now is because this happened in 1989. So most of the people who are on social media right now didn't even know about this case until all of this new stuff came up with the Menudo kid in 23. And now this new social media generation is more in tune with social justice and abuse and all of that, which is why I think also it's getting such a push because it's just a whole new generation of kids who feel more passionately about social justice.
Right. And that's a wonderful thing. And I don't
Absolutely.
wanna hear anybody say, "Well, why didn't they come forward back then?" Because not every victim is ready to raise their hand and claim they're a victim.
But they did tell their cousin.
Right, but I'm also talking about the Menundo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not everybody's looking to be like, "Hey, guess what happened to me, folks?"
That's gross and victim blaming. And why don't people come forward? Because people don't believe them. And you know what? We have this exact scenario just happened last week with Cassie and Diddy. There was video of him beating the shit out of her in a hallway, and he was just found not guilty. That's why people don't come forward.
What's the use?
What's the use? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna just be thrown under the bus and embarrassed, so what's the use?
Yeah.
And especially I don't know, how old was that kid? 12 years old or something like that? Young.
Which one?
From Menudo?
Oh, he was young. Yeah, they were teens. They were young.
Like, who's gonna believe that a man in the position of a CEO is gonna be doing anything like that to little boy?
Right.
Things like that don't happen.
Well, and it was a different time.
That's what
Although,
I'm saying.
fast forward to what I just said about Cassie, I guess it doesn't even matter that it's a different time now because here we are. Yeah.
It blows my mind.
Blows my mind. There was so much evidence. I don't even know. That's a whole different conversation.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. Do we think is 35 years, is that enough for them?
It's a long time.
It is a long time. Like they're like middle
For
age
some
now.
people, that's all the life they even get. I don't know. I think that now, wait, is this gonna be judge ruled or, jury ruled?
Judge.
I just hope that the judge can open their mind enough to look at this case from all sides and
Yeah.
then see what they truly feel.
Yeah. I
Because
think,
that's the only way you can make a fair decision is by stepping back and just looking at the whole, you know what I'm saying? The whole picture.
yeah, I think it was, I can't even state strongly enough what a travesty it was that the judge didn't allow the abuse into the second trial.
Yeah.
So, they were convicted based off of a fourth of the story, maybe a half of the story,
Right.
whatever. Not even, probably. But that was such an integral part of their life and their story and why they say they did this. So for that to not be allowed, I think was horrible. They should have at least been able to present those facts. Whether it would
Right.
have changed it, maybe they still would have gotten life. I don't know. But how do you make such a huge life decision for someone not knowing all of the facts?
And especially the part when it's not all just Lyle and Eric talking and saying they did this, they did that. You have other family members and such coming forward and say, I didn't think about it at the time, but that was kind of weird how Kitty wouldn't let me down the hallway when Jose had the boys back in the bedroom. Was she not wanting me to hear what was going on? See, look, that, like, you're
Yeah.
talking about kids. I don't care if they're standing before you as 18 and 21 years old. They were kids then.
Yeah. And
And I
I
don't
w
care if he wasn't sexually abusing them. What if he was beating them?
yeah. And I will say, as someone who is super tough on crime, and I live in the city where this happened, I go to that house and just look at it regularly, not like every day, but like a couple times a year. And I 100% would not feel unsafe if they were let out of jail next month. I think this was so specific to their parents. And if they were let out in a month, which I think should happen, I would not feel like my life is in danger because these two murderers are running around Los Angeles. So that's what I think should happen. And again, I'm super tough on crime. So if I feel that way, I don't know.
I just feel that if they were released, they would just go be with their wives and finish their family. I'm like you. I believe that it was just targeted at their parents for what they endured. I'm not taking up for what they did. I'm not saying it was great. I'm not saying it's what they should have done. I'm not saying it's the right thing. But I also can't sit here and say if I was treated like that, how would I handle it? I'm gonna think I wouldn't go off the deep end like that, but you don't know.
You don't know. And I feel like they aren't what I described as inherently evil people. They weren't abusing and killing animals. They weren't abusing other people. I mean, outside of internally with each other, but they weren't doing all of those things that you see in those shows of the development of
Right.
a serial killer or something like that. That's not them.
Mhm. You just have 2 little messed up boys who are just throwing anything that they could think of or needed or wanted, and money wasn't money wasn't the same to them, I'm gonna think. Again, like Don says, I'm not putting words into the mouth, but I wouldn't think that they would value money at 18 and 21 the way we did, you know? They're
Not at
just
all.
spoiled brats that
Yeah,
were abused, and what happened happened.
exactly. That's what I think too. Yeah, because listen, I grew up in a family with money, not like their money. Their money is
Right.
way different. But I grew up in a family with money and I got in trouble for stealing. It's just like the thrill of it. It's not,
Mhm.
I, I'm not a criminal. I'm not a murderer. Like, it's just,
Right.
I bet you that's relatively common with people who grow up with money. I don't know why, but I did it. So, like,
Right.
looking back at, sure, they got in trouble for stealing. So did
It's just
I.
kid stuff, though.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't really do anything like that, but it's just kid stuff.
exactly.
I mean, kids get in trouble, kids do stupid shit.
Yeah. So,
Show me one that
August,
doesn't.
we'll see what happens. And at some point, Amy and I are going to do a live where, and it may have already happened by the time this airs, I don't know, but we're going to do a dual live where I sit outside their house with some equipment if I can. I will say, after the Netflix documentary, I could not sit outside their house anymore. It got crazy. And because of all the kids there, they had to put up a huge fence with tarps so that people couldn't see in anymore. And someone purchased the house, I think last year, maybe the year before. And I think they're remodeling the whole thing. I don't think they live there. And so they had to put up this big gate with no access. And I'm hoping now that it's been 6 months, 7 months, that that has calmed down a little. So I do want to do that dual live where we do that
Mhm.
and just see, who knows, maybe sitting outside with a little bit of equipment in my car. Maybe I'll get some.
You think they're regretting buying the house now?
I don't think so. I mean, wouldn't you know what you're getting into?
I would like to hope, but you wouldn't think you'd have to put a tarp up. I mean, I would know better, but some people don't think about that stuff. Remember,
I know, but with this story, shows could pop up at any time, documentaries. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if they were surprised, but who knows?
I hope they don't do anything with the outside of it.
I don't know. Yeah. When
I hope maybe just
so
update
far,
the
no.
inside.
Yeah. When I
Just update the inside.
saw it that last time with the fence and everything, it still looked the same on the outside.
Good.
Yeah, we'll see. So, hopefully,
I think it's a
maybe,
pretty house.
yeah. And I always could do, if we do a dual live there, I could always do one after this airs just so people know to watch
Yeah.
for it because it's so close to me. It's like 20 minutes away.
Right. which means equivalent to 1 mile down the road.
Exactly. Yes, basically. But yeah, that's what I think. I'm hoping next month that'll be
I'd
that.
like to see them released.
Me too. They did their time. And listen, I'm not saying they're completely innocent, and I'm not saying people who are subjected to severe abuse should go around murdering people. That's not at all what I'm
No.
saying.
No, 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 no.
But they did their time. They've been in jail for over 30 years.
It's a long time.
It is a long time. So I
And I
hope they
mean,
get out.
I don't believe they pose a threat to anyone else.
No,
They've never, like you said, hurt anyone else.
no. Previous or after in jail.
Right. Yeah. Just
So,
pretty, I just, I agree with you.
yeah. All right.
Spoiled
Well,
rich kids that were abused.
it's coming up. It's so close. It's
We'll
in
see soon.
six weeks or so. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll meet back here in a week and not talk about this, but definitely we should do a mini-sode after the judge rules and we see what happens.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. Let us know your opinions. Make sure you're following us on all of our social. And we'd be curious to know what you all think about what should happen in August.
Released or stay in prison. I want to know what you think. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.